All right, to start, we're gonna take off the pedals. You'll need a 5mm for this. Just take out the 2 grub screws, one on the top, one on the bottom, or well, I guess on the 2 sides. And then the other thing you need to do is loosen this grub screw. You don't need to, do not take it out. It's really hard to take out, but you want to just loosen it so the pedal rod can slide right out. Okay, so now that the pedal's out, we want to take off the top panel. So to do so, you're going to need a 3mm. 3mm will take off 4 screws. This will remove the foam. Just slide it out. There we go. So everyone's will look a little different. You will have either a flathead or a Phillips on the top. Either way, they have little grooves on the side for, just loose it with your fingers. And you want to remove the 4 that are holding down the box above the control board. You don't need to touch the 2 on the bottom that cover the 2 back ones until you are actually removing the back ones. And this should pop right off. There we go. And yours will also come with like a little foam piece. Just make sure you keep that. Very important step is to unplug the main control board, and that is found with the middle connector. So unplug the middle connector, then power on the wheel. You'll hear a beep, just basically getting all the, clearing the capacitors, and then make sure to take off the 2 O-rings from the charger connectors and save those. All right, from here you want to unplug the battery that you're actually going to do the swap on. So I've already done this one, so that was this cable. I'll do the other side here. So to undo that one, we're gonna have to take off this bottom one with, again, 2 flathead screws. Okay, pop off the cover, and then you will have access to the cables. So because we're doing this one, we're gonna unplug this one. And then the back packs have little screws holding them down, so we're just gonna unscrew those, and these require 3mm. Take that out. There we go. And just so you don't lose it, I like to take off the plastic cover, leave the screw with it. There we go. So from here, we're gonna put the whole wheel on its side. There we go. So now it's on its side. Just pull it closer so you can see better. There we go. Okay. So from here, you're gonna need a 4mm. The 4mm is just to take off the 6 screws. There's 3 here and 3 here. Just to remove the battery pack. So now the pack can just fall out. And you have 2 washers. We're going to be replacing these, so you can just leave them on the side. All right. And from here on, we're just going to work solely with this pack. You should already have this taken off, but if you haven't, get out of the way. Beautiful. And next, so there's screws around this entire area, basically holding the battery pack in place. We want to remove those, so you just need a Phillips. And these screws might get like a little warm when you unscrew them, just because these are into the plastic. So if they're a little warm, don't be alarmed. Your battery's not going to explode. It's fine. So now this cover can pop straight off. So we'll just pop it out. And because it's the top one, the connector should be silicone to it. If you just pull, it'll come right off. So again, we don't need this. We're going to be replacing it, so you can just put it off to the side. And then take out the foam block on top, which is for protection. And you do need this, so keep it. And then next is the bottom. So again, same as we did on the top. Unscrew all of the Phillips. Great. All right, so now we're all done with that. We're gonna pop out this bottom one as well. This one should come out cleanly. And again, leave this to the side. All right, from here, we just wanna push the battery pack out. There's foam on the bottom, so don't worry too much about pressing up against that. And then once it's gotten a little going, you can kind of just use gravity to help you out. So once you got it going, you can just use gravity to help you out a bit. Slide it out. Again, replacing this and get rid of it. So we're gonna be taking off this side, the non-BMS side, which is a lot flatter. You can tell the difference because on this side, you see a little bit of bulging, and you can also start to actually see where it's welded on. So it's pretty obvious, but just double check that you're on the flat side. Beautiful. All right. So now that we're at this step, we're gonna want to slide the battery into the protective sleeve, like so. And make sure that the connector can still come out on the side, and take off any silicone or foam that's kind of built up around this connector. There we go, that should be good enough. Then from there, what I like to do is I like to already put the bottom metal bracket on. We want to put the silicone gasket around it by lining up the edges, like so. There we go. All right. Now that it's all lined up, the bottom has an orientation. So we have a longer side and a shorter side. You can just double check on the wheel to see what side you need it to be. This one has the longer side on the inside, like all of them. So you just want to line that up. And this is important because the connector has an orientation. So the battery pack can only go in one direction on the wheel, be in two. And then once it's in, then we can just pop that boy in. There we go. And once it's in, make sure you check to see if the silicone gasket is getting pushed in to block the threads of the screw. And in this case, it's looking pretty good, so it should be okay. Let's see. Yeah, all looks fine. So that's good to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screw in just the bottom one. There you go. So I like to screw in 4 on each side, so it's evenly pressured, and then we can screw in the rest. Anyway, okay. Now that we have the bottom bracket screwed in, we're gonna take the battery and we're just gonna slide it in. And remember that there's an orientation, so when the connector's coming out on this side, let's see, it's coming on the inside, and the long side needs to be inside. So the long side will be the same as the connector side. So we'll just slide this right in. It should, with a little bit of force, not too much, but a little bit of force, be able to squeeze in there. And then for the final push, just add a little the foam block that was already in it, that came with the original box. Just fit that in, and then just press down. And make sure it doesn't block any of the screw holes. As long as you're pushing on the foam, it's evenly distributing weight, so you're able to push pretty hard. And just make sure it lines up and isn't blocking any of the screw holes. So this is one that's good to go. So now we'll take the top piece and we'll take the gasket, just like on the bottom, fit it into the groove, and then slide it down. There we go. First, let's clean off a little bit of the silicone that's left over from before. You can just kind of, if you just peel it off, it will come off. It's just silicone, so you just want to make sure that there's enough space to have the gasket to fit. So once this is a little bit off, it's a little cleaner. And there might be some foam around there. Make sure you get that off too. So got some foam like this. There you go. All right. All right. So once this is in, there we go. All right. So now put this through. So you'll still need to fit this rubber gasket through. So I'm just pushing this down so make sure that it's flush. But I'm gonna pull it back out again. There we go. And we're gonna fit this through. So you're gonna have to basically spread this open. There we go. And then once it's through, there's gonna be another small rubber gasket. Make sure to go over that. You don't want that on the inside. You actually need that for when it's connecting back to the board. So we're just gonna go over that, like so. So it's gonna be there like that, and this will be on the inside. We slide this down, and then with the right orientation, we're just gonna push it up a little. You don't want this piece to be too high up, or else when you pull it back down, this will yank out. So we want to keep it as close as we can to the main case, while still being able to push it through. So this part, it can help to use like a little flathead to just kind of like help you assist in pushing it through. Just be careful not to go too close to the cables. I'm just only going around the far edge, basically just pushing it down a little bit. And this is just to get the lip started, and then the rest can be done by hand. This part's pretty finicky, so sometimes it helps to get one side in and then push with the flathead to get the other side in, but whatever works for you. This part's really annoying, you know, whatever. All right, now that we got it in, you want to go back around again, the Phillips. All right, pack is now done. So we're gonna move this piece. It's a little bit hard to basically line up, so I tend to place, and again, the flat side is gonna be on the battery side. Make sure not to pinch your fingers. And then again, take the 4mm and screw it down. And again, just like with the screws before, just thread one side and then the other, just so you can line things up. If the bottom piece doesn't line up, that means that the bottom piece that you added is backwards, so you'll have to remove these screws and flip it back over. There we go. All right, so now we're done with changing the battery pack. So what we can do is we can flip it back up, put the kickstand out, face it to the camera so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay. Bring the trolley handle out. So because we were using the bottom one, we're gonna need to, and remember that the smaller rubber gasket is going to fit right in between the groove right here. So if possible, line that up and then plug it in. And the plug has an orientation. It won't let you plug it in the wrong way, but plug that in. All right. Once this is plugged in, there we go. First step, let's put the bottom cover back on. Now, once we have that, let's plug this back in. The cable might be a bit short, so make sure you get enough leverage to just push it in. You have a small spark, and that is totally normal. It's totally fine. And just tuck everything back in. And then do the next battery. I'm already gonna do this off camera, so I'm just gonna show you how to put the wheel back together. So from this point, we're basically all set to go. If you wanna check that it turns on, you can just turn on as is. And then make sure that you have the foam added. And then, almost forgot, take the 2 rubber O-rings and put them over the charger. There we go. And then place it all back. I'll tighten these all by hand and then I'll use the flathead. Oh, and one little thing that I forgot. This little cable boy, he needs the plastic cover. You can, again, yeah, this is fine if you forgot until the end. But yeah, fit the plastic piece over. You can get it threaded. And then tighten. Great. All right. And then let's finish tightening these. I'll just do 2 at a time. Just check that they're all tight. All right, we're good. All right, from this point on, we're basically all set to put the foam piece back on. Make sure that these go over the trolley handle, like and around. And you can bend them, they're pretty sturdy. So you just kind of force them, around. Once you got it around, push down. There you go. And then back to the 3mm. Let's just double check they're tight. Great. All right. And now we can put it on its side. And last but not least, the pedal. Fit the pedal rod through. Then grab your 5mm and put the grub screws on both sides. Make sure it's even on both sides. Tighten, and then tighten this middle one so you have some tension there. There you go. And that's it, you're done. And then do that to all 4 batteries. But now, as you can see, both metal battery boxes on the side done.